President Carter appoints a chief of staff, and it appears Nicaragua's civil war has come to an end. I'm Kathy Campion, and here are the details from 13. President Carter took the first step of what may turn out to be a major administration shakeup today by appointing longtime aide Hamilton Jordan as his chief of staff. Carter has directed his senior staff to act on Jordan's decisions as if they were the president's own, giving Jordan the power to coordinate operations, settle quarrels, and keep the cabinet in line. One White House aide says that Jordan and Vice President Mondale will actually take over much of the day-to-day management of the executive branch, giving Carter more time to meet with people and exert his leadership. The announcement comes just one day after Carter's entire cabinet and top staff offered their resignations. Just who goes and who stays is expected to be announced over the next few days. It appears the civil war in Nicaragua has come to an end tonight. Military sources report that interim President Urcujo has fled the country to follow Anastasio Somoza into exile, and that the National Guard has agreed to surrender to Sandinista guerrillas. The actions have apparently cleared the last obstacles to a 5-member Sandinista-backed junta taking power. That's a plan backed by the U.S. Defense Secretary Harold Brown was the main witness in today's SALT II hearings before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. We have the story from Nancy Griffin.
Today's major witness before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee was Secretary of Defense Harold Brown. Brown was asked to comment on reports that the Soviets are developing and deploying 5 new intercontinental missile systems instead of only 1.
If they go ahead and deploy those, they will be deploying systems that are not militarily significantly different. What counts, as I said in my introductory remarks, is number of warheads, yield of warheads, accuracy, which is not constrained in SALT, and which can be improved in an existing missile, or in a modified missile, or in a new missile. They can change some of the materials, but that has no significant military effect.
To make his point that the Soviet missile improvements are militarily insignificant, Brown suggested what would happen if he were to propose that the U.S. build similar such systems.
I would be accused, and quite rightly, of wasting the taxpayers' money. Now, since that mechanism doesn't exist in the Soviet Union, the same accusation may not be labeled. But it's not something for us to be militarily concerned about, even if they were to change all the bolts, change the thickness of the casing, and a number of other things. It really doesn't matter if they have a new shape of tail fin on the missile. It doesn't matter militarily.
Brown explained that the SALT II treaty does not permit the Soviets to exceed capabilities of existing nuclear weapon systems by more than 5%. And what if the Soviets should exceed the 5% limitation?
A violation of Article 15 is grounds, and we would consider it grounds, for terminating the treaty.
In other testimony today, Secretary Brown said the U.S. has the means to monitor and detect any significant treaty violations by the Soviets in time to effectively counter them. This is Nancy Griffin reporting.
13's live coverage of the SALT hearings continues tomorrow morning at 10. Well, the price of gold sped past another milestone today, reaching the $300 an ounce mark. We have more on that story from BBC reporter John Darby.
8 years ago, gold was worth about $35 an ounce. As the metal topped the $300 mark, dealers were saying that it could soon reach $320. Gold's a traditional standby when people lose faith in shaky paper currencies, and the American dollar is very shaky indeed. The recent OPEC oil price increase has a lot to do with gold's popularity, and London dealer Robert Beale says President Carter's energy policy is another factor.
Well, I think it has had an effect in the sense that the financial markets were expecting to see some new policy which would have an immediate effect in cutting consumption. By this I mean probably a move to escalate the price of oil products in the United States. And although it's fair to say what has come out in President Carter's television speech and subsequently is considered encouraging for the longer term, the financial markets have been disappointed that there has been nothing which they really see as having an immediate impact.
Mr. Beale says he expects a further speculative rush on gold in the short term as Western economic uncertainty reigns. And as gold goes up, dealers are wondering if the dollar's on the verge of yet another dramatic slide in value. John Darby at the London bullion market.
The stock market closed slightly higher in heavy trading. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained under a point, ending the day at 828.58. Volume on the exchange was 35,950,000 shares. About 1,000 New York City taxicab drivers snarled rush hour traffic this morning to protest a 15-cent surcharge that went into effect today. Cabbies say